hope you're enjoying the summit so far. My name is Catalina Rodriguez Lima, and I am the director and the founder of the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, MEMA. Created in 2014, MEMA's mission is to promote the economic growth, community well-being, and the integration of new Americans in the city of Baltimore. Our work would not be possible without the large number of partners and advocates in this room. Thank you for everything you do. An applause to you. In addition, MEMA could not fulfill its mission without government leadership. From its inception in 2014 to our current mayor, our office has benefited from political leaders who understand that diversity makes our city stronger, and that new Americans are an important component of our city and one that deserves attention. I think of my own immigrant experience in moving to the United States 18 years ago, attending Towson University and moving to Baltimore City, and how these were part of the few places where I felt at home, that I belong. I believe that my experience was possible due to courageous advocates, institutions, and elected officials who have been working for years to ensure Baltimore became a welcoming place for people like me and others. And so, it is my pleasure to introduce someone who has been instrumental in shaping Baltimore over the last few decades. First as a councilman, later as president of the city council, and now as mayor of Baltimore City. Mayor Young has spent his time as a public servant aggressively representing the interests of our residents of Baltimore. He made his mark in city government with a reputation for highly effective constituent services and for a dedication to youth, seniors, education, and public safety. He was the force behind the establishment of the Children and Youth Fund, a fund dedicated to supporting Baltimore's youth. A native of East Baltimore, Mayor Young has championed efforts to increase government transparency, fight for equitable housing opportunities, and bolster funding for education. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Young. Thank you.
Good afternoon to everyone. First, I'd like to thank Catalina, the director of the Baltimore Immigration Agency within Baltimore City. I'd like to recognize Beth Clifford from Towson University. Where are you? Okay, thank you. Elizabeth Kinney from the Vera Institute. All the way in the back. Okay. Well, it is my pleasure to participate in the 9th Baltimore Immigration Summit. I would like to start by thanking the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs and Towson University for organizing today's event. I would also like to recognize the following organizations for their support leading up to today. International Rescue Committee, are they here? Okay, if you can just wave. Immigration Outreach Services Center, the Esperanza Center of Catholic Charities, the Associate, and the Jewish Museum of Maryland. We also have CASA we want to thank. Are they here? Baltimore Immigration Museum. Okay. The Baltimore Jewish Council. I know they're here. I've seen them. Okay. Let's give them all a round of applause. Lastly, I want to thank all of the organizations and advocates that are here today participating in this year's summit theme, Restoring Hope Through Solidarity. The theme captures our commitment to working together to maintain inclusive and tolerant communities that reject bigotry. We must continue to combat the national divisive climate against immigrants and refugees by coming together. Now more than ever, we need to unite as a region to make sure our communities send a strong and clear message that we all belong. a strong and clear message that we all belong. I'm going to say that again because nobody said anything, okay? A strong and clear message that we all belong. Baltimore is a welcoming city for all of us, no matter where you originally came from. I got this bronchitis, y'all bear with me. The language you speak or the faith you practice. As mayor, I remain committed to ensuring that our city continues to be a place of opportunity and hope in which everyone, including new Americans, can contribute to their greatest potential. I want to see Baltimore that's stronger, safer, cleaner, and more livable for every one of our neighbors, and I know that new Americans play a critical role in creating the city we all deserve. As we kick off Immigrant Heritage Month tomorrow, let us all remember our own heritage and be mindful of protecting future generation opportunities that they may also enjoy the opportunities of living in the United States. You may not know that I have immigrant ancestors and take pride in my heritage as well. My grandfather came from Jamaica seeking opportunity, and I respect all of those who make a similar choice and journey. When we talk about principles upon which this nation was founded, I think it's important that we stand up loudly and proudly to highlight that diversity makes us stronger and makes our city stronger. I think it's critical and falls upon our shoulders to reject the notion that a multicultural society cannot thrive and survive. That is not the truth that our history has taught us. That is not the truth that my personal history has taught me. So we must choose to invest in the most important capital that any city can have, and that is the capital of its people, the talents of its people, the ability of its people to provide for themselves and their families, and their ability to make a better way and a better world for the next generation. That is why when I was council president, I led the effort to establish the Children and Youth Fund, a $12 million non-lapsing fund dedicated to supporting Baltimore's children, youth, and young adults. Investing in our young people is critical as they are the future of our city. But I want to go back. They're not the future if we don't take care of them today. They are our today for our future. During this fund's first year, over 80 organizations, including organizations supporting new American youth, were awarded funds to support youth initiatives. I am very fortunate to have been able to do the job of councilman, council president, and now mayor of Baltimore. Over the course of my public service career, I have worked for some of the most diverse, resilient, and proud people in the nation. Finally, I want to urge all of you to do the work of ensuring that the diversity of our residents is not erased in the upcoming census. As you know, historically, immigrants have been underrepresented in the decennial census count. Locally, they have experienced recent demographic change, such as Baltimore City will be those most impacted by the undercount, with significant federal dollars on the table. For every resident not counted, we lose about $1,800 a year, and that's a lot of money. So please join me in ensuring that everyone, including immigrants, are valued citizens and therefore benefits from the federal resources that communities can access when everyone is counted. And I want to let the immigrant community know that we are committed to every immigrant that resides in the city of Baltimore. We want you to feel safe. We want you to feel that you can report crime. Don't be afraid of that. Our police department have instructed that all they are there to do is to take care of the report of the crime that was committed. We want you to feel confident that Baltimore City is a welcoming city, and we're not going to ask for immigration status when a crime has been committed against your community. So I want to encourage you to make sure that every child is counted. Every child in the immigrant community, every child in the black community, any child, every child in the white community. We need everybody to be counted. This is very crucial and critical for the city of Baltimore. As most of you know, in the last couple of censuses, we lost representation in Annapolis. And in Annapolis, they have a culture of anti-Baltimore because they think we beg for everything in the state. I always refer back to a time when Baltimore City took care of the entire state. And now it's time for the state to help Baltimore City. It's time for the state to help Baltimore City. Baltimore City is the engine of the state. And so goes the city, so goes the state. And that's why I'm working in cooperation with the county execs that surround Baltimore, because I do believe in regionalism. I don't see no lines when it comes to crime. If the police sees it and they're across the street and it happens to be in Anne Arundel County, they should be coming over to take care of that criminal act. I just want Baltimore City to be a city that's going to thrive. My main goals and objectives are to reduce crime in the city of Baltimore and to clean Baltimore City up. So those of you who live in Baltimore City, talk to your relatives, talk to your grandkids, your nieces and nephews, and let them know that criminal activity will not be tolerated in Baltimore City. We want you to be good citizens. The Inner Harbor belongs to you as well as it belongs to anybody else. But we want you to come down there and act like you're supposed to act. You come down there and act with decency and respect. And we want to make sure that there's opportunities for you to enjoy yourselves. But we want to make sure that you know how to do that. So again, it's very important that everyone is counted. And I can't stress it enough from the immigrant community, because you are one of the most undercounted population, not only in the city of Baltimore, in the country. And that's bad. We need all of you to make sure that you're counted. So again, I want to thank you for this opportunity to stand before you, and I hope you excuse my bronchitis, because, you know, it comes and goes like it wants to, and I'm trying to deal with that as well. And I think it's happening because I'm beginning to talk more now than I've ever talked. You know, every time I turn around, there's a news camera. They want to know this and they want to know that. So I want to tell the news media that there's a lot of good, positive things going on in the city of Baltimore. And we want you all to make sure that you come and cover some of that, which I know you're already doing. But we need to change the narrative of Baltimore City being the most violent city in America. And I pledge to you in the next 17 months that I have as mayor of Baltimore City, I'm going to work every day to make sure that that happens. Again, thank you. And at this point, I would like to invite Towson University, she's not here, Beth Clifford to come up at this time. Again, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mayor Young. On behalf of Towson University, we're so honored to be part of this collaboration with the city. I know there have been some unexpected technical challenges for the city lately. That might be an understatement. But we've been incredibly impressed with the dedication and hard work of Catalina and Katie and their staff, and know that with folks like them and yourself, Mr. Mayor, we know the city is in good hands. Part of Towson University's mission statement includes a statement saying, "We are here to enhance and support partnerships and collaborations with government, business, and educational sectors throughout the region to promote economic development and address social issues." We see the Baltimore Immigration Summit as an important part of this mission. Could members of the Towson community who are here, students, staff, alumni, and faculty, please stand for a moment to show our presence here. I know there are a bunch of you, and alumni. There's one back there too. Thank you. We are very sorry that a family health issue has prevented our provost from attending today, but I'm honored to just welcome you on behalf of the wonderful people at Towson, to welcome you again to this event today, and to most of all thank you for joining us today. I'd also like to formally thank, on behalf of Towson, to thank Coppin State for hosting us this year, and I hope that we can do more to help build this relationship. Thank you very much, and I'll hand it back over to Catalina.
Thank you so much, Beth. Thank you, Mayor Young. As I mentioned earlier, our work would not be possible at MEMA without all of you, and you, Mayor Young, and my wonderful, small but mighty staff. Where are you? Katie, Mark, and Angel, please raise your hand. Our next presenter is an organization that has been an outstanding partner to our office. As you may know, MEMA established a legal defense fund a few years ago thanks to the support of Open Society Institute Baltimore and the Vera Institute of Justice. And with that, Baltimore became one of few cities in the country to offer universal representation to residents facing deportation. And if you're interested in learning more about this project, I'm presenting here at 2:15, so just a shout out there. Liz Kenny, Senior Planner for the Vera Institute of Justice Center on Immigration and Justice, is here with us to share information about the collective impact of SAFE Network, a national initiative that helps establish local programs such as ours to provide universal representation to detained immigrants facing deportation. Liz?
Hi everyone, how's lunch? Looks delicious. Thank you, Catalina, and thank you for inviting me. I am, as Catalina mentioned, I work for the Vera Institute of Justice, and we are a justice reform organization that partners with governments to pilot and implement solutions to some of our nation's most severe justice challenges. And we're partnering with the City of Baltimore on the SAFE Network, which I'm here to talk about today. And as I was thinking about the theme of today's summit, I think part of the reason why I'm here is because this program and Baltimore's leadership and commitment to it is really a glimmer of hope. It's a reason that we can be hopeful in a time of great despair facing our local immigrant residents. And it was hope born out of the immigration enforcement crisis, but it shows a tremendous promise. And you will have to bear with me. I do have a PowerPoint. We're a data-driven policy organization, so we love our charts and graphs. So before I talk about the network, I just wanted to orient everyone to the problem that we're trying to address. And I know that many of you in this room are experts and have a tremendous amount of experience in this area, but I do want to, there we go. So immigration enforcement and arrests have spiked in the last few years. We've seen it in our communities, in our families, and all over the news. Immigration detention, the average daily population hovers around 50,000 people who are detained at our nation's immigration detention centers. And this is supposed to be a form of civil punishment, but it is in all form and substances the same as a prison, and is often, in fact, people are detained in local county jails. And so anyone who is not a citizen of the United States is technically at risk and vulnerable to deportation and proceedings, including people who have overstayed their visas, people who have entered unlawfully without permission, and even green card holders who have been here for decades and have established families and lives here. And as we've seen in the last 2 years, ICE has not been discriminating against in its enforcement practices. People who have never been on the radar for immigration enforcement, including, parents and people who with no criminal history, are now being arrested and torn from our communities. And unlike people facing criminal charges, who are provided a court-appointed attorney if they cannot afford one, immigrants facing deportation are not entitled and guaranteed to a court-appointed attorney. And they have to navigate this notoriously complex system by themselves. And this is because immigration in court is considered a civil matter, even though the consequences of deportation are, just as severe and sometimes more severe than those that are facing people who are charged with crimes. And so cities around the country and counties have stepped up to try to address this issue. Because of the barriers that people face in finding an attorney, whether it's finding having the resources to be able to pay for an attorney, or being able to find representation at one of the local organizations that provides these services for free, who just don't have enough capacity to serve everyone. 70% of the people in those detention centers are forced to navigate this process alone and fight against a trained government attorney. This isn't just a national problem, it is a very local one. In the Baltimore Immigration Court, 61% of the cases that started last year do not have an attorney to represent them. And so cities and counties are stepping up to address this issue and partnering with the SAFE network, and that stands for Safety and Fairness for Everyone. This is a group of what started in November 17th as 11 cities and counties. Baltimore joined the group and took a real leadership role in this initiative. And we're growing more and more over the years, and we'll be up to 19 jurisdictions by the end of this summer. And as a part of this network, the cities have invested in protecting their immigrant communities and ensuring a fair day in court for their residents who face detention and deportation. And because of the barriers that detained people face, the services are prioritized to serve detained Baltimore City residents. And I know that this is just one component of a very comprehensive Safe City Baltimore program that Catalina and others in the room are going to speak to later on. And these programs aren't just popping up in the East and West Coast states, as you might imagine. They're all over the country. We do have them in California and here in Baltimore and in Prince George's County, but we also have them in Texas and in Ohio and Wisconsin and Colorado, showing that this common sense solution is really appealing to everyone. And what this program is based on is a best practices model that was created in New York, the New York Family Immigrant Program that Vera was involved in the working group to create and then evaluated. And I hope I'm not surprising anyone in the room, though I might be biased as an attorney when I tell you that lawyers actually do make a difference. I know there's a lot of lawyer jokes out of there, but they do make a difference when they get on cases. 10 times, an immigrant in detention who's facing deportation is 10 times more likely to be able to win their case and stay with their families if they get an attorney. And these are successes that I'm going to breeze through this slide for the sake of brevity. These are successes that we're also seeing in the first year of our network, where not just is every individual who's represented by the CARE Coalition, who is the local legal service provider and provides fantastic high-quality representation, they have a chance to have due process, to be informed of their rights in an incredibly scary time, and to make informed decisions about what their future holds and how they'll navigate that process. And they are treated with dignity in a system that is fundamentally dehumanizing. We also know that the representation has allowed 41% of the clients in our national network to be free from detention because they've been awarded bond. So they're able to fight their cases from outside of the detention while continuing to support their families and their communities. And ultimately, 38% of the cases that have completed in just the first year have won. And people are able to stay with their families in the long term. And this is a tremendous success given that the fact that there's a 3% success rate for unrepresented and detained people in our court systems. And so this is, when people think of a fair and just court system, people do not think that 70% of detained people who are detained hours away from their home are navigating this process alone. And so it has been critical that the Baltimore City and others in the network have been able to step up and try to close this gap in due process. And we know that not only are there the obvious effects on the individual who's represented, but that there's a lot of ripple effects when someone is represented by an attorney that are less easy to quantify. But as you all well know, because you serve the people who are impacted by enforcement, that detention and deportation have incredibly destabilizing effects on children whose parents are detained. They suffer personal trauma of separation and trouble in school, and families' finances are destabilized when the breadwinner is taken from the home, and communities and businesses are impacted when people are taken from the workforce. And so representation through this program helps mitigate some of those challenges by allowing people the increased likelihood of getting back into the community where they belong. And so it's no wonder that Baltimore wanted to take a leadership role on this. Immigrants are such a key part of Baltimore's fabric. Here's some numbers that we have illustrating that, and there's some materials in the back if anyone's interested in more detailed data on the population in the Baltimore metro region. But many immigrants in Baltimore have been here for more than 15 years. 1 in 5 children have an immigrant parent, and they're a vital part of the workforce. And so it is critical that Baltimore took this leadership role, and to do so in such a comprehensive way. And really, the city's leadership on this issue has helped spark a lot of support, a groundswell of support for this concept, this universal representation concept, which seeks to implement a public defender system in our immigration courts that is so direly needed. And Baltimore's leadership has helped spark a groundswell of support in the region as other counties in Maryland are considering similar investments, and in the nation. Before 2017, only 2 jurisdictions, California and New York, unsurprisingly, had programs like this. And then after 2017, there was the 11 jurisdictions in the SAFE network, which was only really part of a much larger movement, as is illustrated by the other things in red, the other states in red. These programs are spreading widely, and they're desperately needed. And we're also aware from communication with advocates and other providers that a lot of people are considering them, and there's growing support in this movement. And so we're very grateful for Baltimore's leadership on this issue. And I just want to close out by showing a video of Luis, who was represented by the CARE Coalition through Baltimore's investment in this program.
When I went into detention, my son Parker was little. He couldn't walk. When I returned home, he was walking and talking. It is different. We're closer now. He follows me everywhere. He does everything that I do. He always tries to communicate with me. It's beautiful. I don't go out a lot, but I always like to go to the parks with my kids. I like to go downtown to the center of Baltimore where the ships are. On the weekends, I like to walk, take my kids out to eat, because it's a new life. It's an opportunity that I am taking advantage of now that I am a legal resident. I can go here and there together with my family. I don't have to be hiding myself. I don't have the danger that I'll be with my kids and immigration will take me, leaving my kids alone. I am grateful for these opportunities that you have given to us immigrants to be represented by a lawyer. And I'm grateful to the lawyers. They are good lawyers who have helped us immigrants move forward. So I thank you, and I hope you continue this program so that many families can be happy the same way that I am happy now. So I thank you.
Luis's story demonstrates the real transformative impact that representation can have in people's lives and the lives of their family members. And unfortunately, the fact that he was able to find free, high-quality representation through CARE makes him an exception in our current system. And so, we are working towards the vision where no one faces these consequences without an attorney to advise them and to help them navigate it. And we're very grateful to partner with the City of Baltimore and CARE to move closer to that reality. So thank you very much for everyone's incredible work in Baltimore. It's tremendous to see everyone here today.